I feel like we might need a little more exciting from 10 to 1. Like, 3, 2, 1. It feels a little bit calm. But anyway, I'm Claire LeBeau. I am with NASEF, the North America Scholastic Esports Federation, and thrilled to be joined by 3 leaders from NACE, which is the Collegiate Esports Association, and just a great organization for us to partner with. Of course, when we talk about high school esports, we're talking about students envisioning their future. For us, it's college and career, and that's always our focus. We see esports as a way to get kids super engaged in school, and we love that we can bring them in, get them playing games, and then get them doing awesome things like what is happening in the background right now behind Joey, where they're doing broadcasting and running tournaments and charity streams. So we're going to give Joey a minute to plug what's going on at his school in just a second. But that's our focus at NASEF, is leveraging esports as a platform for kids to develop life and career skills, and then be able to move on and keep building those skills as they go into college and beyond. So great to have you all with me. Let's do some quick introductions. Jackie, why don't you lead off here?
Hi, I'm Jackie Lamb. I am the head coach assistant director for Minnesota State University in Mankato. We have just wrapped up our season we've been about 2 years now. We've participated in over 10 titles over that 2 years, and we are still growing as each semester and new titles come out. I'm kind of excited for Halo, maybe in the fall, hopefully. But yeah, that's us.
Okay, awesome. And Devin?
My name's Devin Hartnett. I run the program at Widener University. We're an esports program that offers scholarships. So if you're interested and want to move close to the Philadelphia area, we have a good spot for you.
Awesome. I'm going to be asking about scholarships in just a minute. And Joey, why don't you introduce yourself and then tell us what is happening in the background there?
Sure. Yeah. Thank you. My name's Joey Goriziak. I'm the director and a professor of esports at Shenandoah University. We've had a program for 4 years now on the competitive side, 3 years on the academic side. So we do kind of combine that competitive side with professional development and career development through the academic programs that we have. And that's there's an example right behind me in our esports arena happening right now. So pardon the chaos behind me, but I thought it'd be pretty cool to kind of show an example of some of the things that we do and some of the community involvement we have, because this is our esports event management class as part of the esports majors putting on their final project right now, which is a Wounded Warriors charity stream. And right now, at last count, we are just over $2,000 for the Wounded Warriors project. And this is completely student run, student produced. And so if you want a chance to check out what's going on, our Twitch page is just search for Shenandoah Esports. It's right on there. You can donate on there as well. So yeah, that's kind of the chaos and excitement going on behind me, but excited to be here. Love working with everybody at NASEF and at NACE. So this is like a perfect combination of the two. So looking forward to the conversation tonight.
Awesome. Thank you. So you mentioned that you have an esports major. Devin mentioned scholarships. So let's go ahead and talk about that a little bit. And Joey, you can just carry on the conversation here, but you have an esports major. Can you tell us what kind of classes are involved in that? And then also, how about the titles that you all play and if you offer scholarships?
Wow. Yeah. Okay. Let's see here. Starting with the classes that we have in there. Sure. It's, it's an esports major. And so it's things like intro to esports, contemporary issues in esports. And then the upper level side of things that are esports specific are the esports event management, like you see behind me. We have an esports business class that talks about revenue generation in esports and professional esports organizations, as well as governance and policy, and a performance class where they learn about health, nutrition, and wellness. And those lecture classes pair with our experiential learning requirements, which is really the backbone of the academic side, is that students are in here running events. They're going out and running events external to the university, taking trips around the country and to other countries around the world to network and run other events. And sorry for the loudness. I'm in an esports arena. That's why it's so loud. It's exciting. But yeah, that's kind of what goes with the esports major and the esports specific classes. And then we offer things like traditional business classes, traditional public relations and journalism classes on the broadcast side to go with the esports specific side of things to make that esports major in conjunction with the esports minor, certificates on the coaching side, the MBA program that we have as well. So a lot of different academic offerings that we have at the university to go with that competitive side. Claire, like you mentioned, in those esports titles that we have here, currently competing in 6 titles, going to be 7 going into next year. We play, see if I can get all these, Overwatch, Rocket League, League of Legends, Smash Brothers, Call of Duty, and Valorant are the current 6. And we're adding Apex as a varsity offering next year because we just spent a year with it as a club, and that club showed enough commitment that we're going to promote them to varsity next year to provide them the funding and the resources and the coaching they need to compete in whatever tournaments we can find. Apex has been pretty tough to find competitions at the collegiate level, but we're going to do the best and find what we can, certainly set up scrimmages, but wanted to support those students that put in that effort and commitment during that 1 year as a club to give them that kind of notoriety to now be at the varsity level. We do not offer scholarships. We are a school that is a Division III for the NCAA. And not that we fall under athletics for esports, we actually fall under academics with all the things that we offer on that side. But our university president and I both agreed that we wanted to keep the same model for esports as our traditional sports. So we don't offer any kind of scholarships, but we do offer a number of other incentives, including work study positions for students that do make our varsity teams and our coaches, as well as our broadcast production students. So while they're not scholarships, they're pretty close because they can still earn money by competing on our team. So a little bit of a different model, but it works for us. Just like, everybody has their different nuances to their program. That makes sense for them. So that's currently what we have, and always looking to expand and find new opportunities on the professional development, academic, competitive. A lot of excitement going around the program, just like every other program here in this call, as well as around the country. And really interested to hear more about what Devin and Jackie have going on.
Yeah, right now is such an exciting time. And we were talking about the CECC, the Collegiate Cup that just happened in Atlanta last weekend. And there were 64 teams there competing, and the excitement was palpable. The students are so thrilled. And of course, everybody's just happy to be back in a live arena right now, too. So that has a lot to do with it, But the growth in esports and the recognition that is starting to come for the job possibilities. We've all known that, right? All of us on this call, we've known that, and we've been building programs towards that. But it's great to start seeing the build of excitement within the schools, and from my perspective, within the parents who are starting to say to their kids, yes, this is a viable career option, go for it and study that. Because, for a while there's been some hesitation there, but it's fun to see the change around that. Jackie, how about the school that you're at? Do you offer esports classes or major?
We don't, but we do have departments that integrate a course or like a couple weeks interest in esports. Specifically our sports management class, they've had 2 semesters now, so just a year's worth of us coming in and talking to them, or them doing projects specifically for esports. So one of the class projects, they had a Warzone tournament that they used our facility for, and used our consulting and advising. We helped them get some prizes, and it was a smaller event, but it was fun to watch them do everything themselves and figure out and how to run an event, and have the day of drama that happens at every event. That was pretty funny to watch, and I didn't have to deal with it. But we are hoping to get a major within the next couple of years. There's some really good businesses out there that help colleges with that, and I'm hoping to utilize that myself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's awesome. What titles do you play?
Currently, I have to think too. So we are in League of Legends, Call of Duty, Valorant, CSGO, Smash, Rocket League, and much like Joey, we have Apex, Halo, and iRacing that we are testing. So students, we ask them to commit and participate by themselves with our advice and consult. And if they show commitment, we are wanting to move them up into a varsity title.
That's great. It's funny. I was just thinking how different esports is, because you have all these titles that fall under one heading, right? Where if you coach football, you coach football. It's not like you have one program manager for every sport in anything except esports. It's definitely hats off to all of you, because I know it's a lot to manage.
I think that's one of the biggest misconceptions is esports is esports, but it's not. It's each individual title is an esport. And so it's hard, like when people maybe don't understand it, but all those titles require different players, different skills, different league rules. They're all their own little thing. So it's a
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot for you to keep all those plates spinning at the same time, right? So good job with that. And how about scholarships? Do you offer scholarships?
We offer one scholarship currently that we give out during our tryouts, but then we have thousands of academic scholarships that we help our students apply for during February, which we have thousands that I personally help handpicked and help students apply for that can get a full ride basically if they just take the time to fill out each one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that definitely helps parents' ears perk up when you say things like scholarships and especially things like full ride.
Yeah. Oh, we
Yeah.
also have work study positions too, like Joy. We have work
Mhm.
study and intern. So I think that's important that we give the students an opportunity to build their own career, but then they're able to get money while they're still going to school.
Right. Exactly. All right. And Devin, how about you? You mentioned that you offer scholarships.
We
so
do,
we know
we
that.
do.
What kind of scholarships?
So we do offer scholarships for academics as well as esports. That's typically done within the tryout process as well. We have work study as well. I'm trying to get kids in the commentary. I have a student right now that plays Smash that's trying to get in the commentary, and I'm trying to incentivize him to do it for work study because it could be cool. It's a skill that he's trying to learn, so I'm trying to facilitate that as much as possible.
Mhm.
Outside of that, though, we compete in the very, very similar titles: Overwatch, Rocket League, League of Legends, Smash. We're trying to get Apex, but like Joey said, it's really tough to find Apex tournaments. And I want us to have an Apex team because I think the game is great to watch. I think it's a good spectator sport as well. But it's too difficult to find games for. I'm gonna be real. But outside of that, like the program's great. We've been up for it's close to 4 years now. We've been playoffs every year in every game that we play, which is great. I think we just missed Overwatch this year, which was a little sad, but outside of that, though, we've got a good bunch of kids, and I'm looking forward to another good year.
Right. Awesome. And how about the classes and the major? Is that something that you have at your school?
That's something that I'm currently pushing for. Prior to working with Widener, I worked a lot in the pro scene. So I know a lot of how the infrastructure works when it comes to things like that. So I'm hoping that I can lend a hand and develop a major here, at least, an elective that people can pop in.
Right. That's great. And I just want to note, when we were chatting before we started the live stream, it turns out that Devin used to coach some of the NASEF teams back when we were playing League of Legends. You were one of the League of Legends coaches for a team in Southern California that did quite well, if I remember correctly, Sunny Hills. So shout out to them.
They did pretty well. They were a good group of kids for sure.
Right. Yeah. So it's fun to see things come full circle, right? How you supported and built into the kids in the high school program, and now here you are again doing the same thing. So we appreciate that. Thank you. We have a couple questions in the chat, but I'm going to first go into the topic of the day, which is partnerships and establishing community partnerships. So I think we could probably just each take a moment and talk about what kind of partnerships you have, either within your own regional community or within the esports community at large. Let's see, Joey, why don't you go ahead and tackle this one first?
Sure. Can you still hear me good? Get a thumbs up?
Yes.
Perfect. If y'all can see what's going on behind the scenes right now, this is esports being esports right now with production. I've got my colleague is running around trying to plug my computer in before it dies as the light is being moved from in front of me, so you can still see me. So I apologize if I got darker. My camera shut off at one point. We're going to get things figured out. This is esports being esports. But, Claire, to your point, community partnerships are a huge deal and really the lifeblood of a lot of organizations. Here at SU, it's important for us because it also gives our students an opportunity to work with outside organizations and hear from outside organizations. So some of the partnerships that we have with like the Washington Justice and Overwatch League team in DC, where we're able to work those professional events with them, but also get some of their staff, teaching our classes and work with our students, incredibly beneficial for what we have in the program. But also even something like the Youth Development Center that we have in town and working events at the Youth Development Center for the chance for our students to get out there, run some events, but also connect with the community to build one of our one of our 3 C's, our pillars here. And Claire, you mentioned 2 of the pillars. You almost got the 3rd one for us. Competition, career, and community are the 3 C's that we build our program on. And so that community thing we take to heart. And the more partnerships we can have in the community to help benefit our students and benefit the community at large, but also to benefit high school students and what they're going through right now, because the high school scene is continuing to evolve, just like the collegiate scene and the pro scene. But anytime we can interact with high school students and work with them and plug them into what is possible at the college level through those partnerships, through working together on collaboration projects, it's a win-win-win situation for everybody. So yeah, it's, I mentioned a couple of the community partnerships, but we have a number of smaller ones as well, endemic to esports, non-endemic to esports, some that help provide us resources, some that help provide us exposure, some that we help for community outreach. And so, it takes all those working together to help build a really, really solid program and a chance for all students to see what's possible in and through esports, because it's not just about playing video games, right? It's a whole lot more than that. So the possibilities through esports you can also get with these community partnerships are incredibly important. So always looking for new opportunities, always looking to build and involve as many people as we can to find as much benefit as possible. But yeah, the community partnerships, absolutely vital to what we do here at SU and really to every program.
Right. Devin, how about you? What kind of partnerships do you have in your area? Or again, regional or outside of the region?
Yeah. So we work with Nursery in the block. That facility is pretty open to us when it comes to if we were to need it, and that's based in Philly. I do think that like at a baseline, esports is super grassroots. I mean, like I personally come from the Philly Smash community, so like it's a situation where like we're hometown's hometown. You eat local, stuff like that. And so that's something that we do on campus too. Like, we offer coupons to like local places that you could come and eat. So if you come to an event at Widener, like locally, you're gonna be able to eat, for like a 20% discount, which like usually is pretty good because 9 times out of 10, like venue food is super overpriced. And if you could get something locally, it's just usually better anyways.
Got it. Okay. And Jackie, how about you? What kind of partnerships do you have?
We also have a professional team that we work with for Minnesota. We are a little bit more rural, so the opportunities around us aren't as big, but being able to work with the Minnesota Rocker in version 1 to help facilitate, they just created a street team that they reached out for wanting students for paid internships that we were able to facilitate students for. But then there's a new internet cafe that is coming on board to help our local high schools with the ability to provide machines for, which I'm actually really excited to work with them coming up. But then also just offering our facility to our high schools around the state. We have a high school coming in with a watch party and their playoff team tomorrow to our facility, actually, just to use it for their playoffs. And that's just exciting that they reached out to us and we were able to provide that a little bit fun atmosphere for them while they get to be in our facility.
That was going to be my next question, is how do you partner with high schools, or if you have high schools in your region that have not yet connected with you, what kind of things can you do to have a partnership? So one is use your facility. What are some other ways that you would want to connect with high schools?
I think that's one of the biggest issues that a lot of us have is connecting with high schools and how to get them to come to us or us to get to them. I know of several within our state, but only have connections with maybe 4 or 5 schools. And I definitely want to make that outreach a little bit easier. But just being able to have them come to our facility or us come to them to let them know about our program, what we can offer, how they can participate in the varsity level, but then behind the scenes, because I think behind the scenes works is just as important. Like Devin said about casting, that's huge. Like that's part of your program and that's what you need students for as well. So any way that I can get help to reach out to my local schools, I'd be loving that.
Right. All right. So I'm going to just do a little promo here. If you are a leader of a high school, look for the colleges in your area and see how they would want to partner. Oh, I see definite agreement on that thought. See how they want to partner, because, that's a really strong partnership both ways. The mentorship that goes from a college student to a high school student and, you know, the vision that the kids can get of what college is like. It's really valuable. And then, of course, you know, you want the local high school students to say, hey, I want to go to that school. So I think it's definitely a win-win, or as Joey said, a win-win-win. You had 3 in there before, yes.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of them in there. And to piggyback on what Jackie was saying, yeah, just any involvement with the high school we can get. Some of them have no idea that esports even exists at the college level. And so a lot of it is just educating them, you know, trying to get in front of their college administrator or college counselors at the school to tell them where the opportunities are, especially for scholarships. I mean, that is huge for a lot of students, just to give them that opportunity to, yes, play games and play esports, but just to get to college, to get an education. That's the important part of what we're doing. And any way we can do that is great. We've been fortunate here. We have like 100 schools in the state of Virginia that participate in esports. We hosted the state of Virginia championships for high schools back in October. So that was really cool, getting 20 different schools here to play some games. We had one last weekend. We got a recruiting event coming up this weekend. And that's what we need to see more of. Colleges hosting these events for high schoolers, like Jackie was talking about. And yes, getting them in the broadcast room, like our broadcast just went live again, so that they get the experience of not just on the stage, but behind the camera, working the broadcast production. That is a critical part of the opportunity that esports can kind of give to people. So yeah, just the more we can get students involved, the more we can bring them into our spaces. And when you bring them into spaces like this, they're blown away, right? So like if I have a recruit come on campus and they want to see the arena, I'm like, yep, I'll walk you in there. I don't need to say anything. I'll just walk them in here, turn the lights off, turn our gamer mode on, that we call it, and just they're sold because they see what's possible. They see that it's legitimate. They can envision themselves being part of something that's bigger than just themselves and being part of the university, and maybe go back to their high school and take this to their high school to help build their program at their school. Because like Devin said, and I love it, it's grassroots. It starts from the ground up. It starts with that swell from the students. So we always encourage those high school students to find other students that want to get involved and want to make this happen at your high school. Get with teachers, get with administration, tell them the benefits that esports can offer that go way beyond playing video games, so that they understand it in a way that maybe they understand football and volleyball and lacrosse, but they don't understand how esports teaches a lot of those similar concepts. So it's really important just to get that started. And once it starts, it kind of can catch fire. And it's really cool to see that. So any way we can involve high schoolers, and Claire, yeah, shout it out again, shameless plug, put it out there. If you're a high school administrator, teacher, parent, find the colleges in your area, see if they offer esports, and see how you can get involved with what they're doing.
Right, absolutely. And you mentioned getting things rolling at your school. And so I will say, if you are not yet a part of NASEF, it's free. It's completely free to join NASEF. And then your students can participate in our tournaments. We have Beyond the Game challenges. We're doing a lot with Minecraft. We have curriculum that is available. I mean, there are so many things. As you said, Joey, it's a lot of not just the games themselves, but the whole career structure around it. And the ability, I think it's pretty rare in high school to get to do some of this really fun stuff, like the shoutcasting and the streaming and all of that. Doing the hands-on learning is so much better than just sitting and, trying to absorb from reading a book and it's dry. It's so different to do project-based learning. And that's exactly what esports offers. And again, I'm just going to point to your background, Joey. I mean, it's so fun to see this happening right now. I think we could not have timed this any better, but that's what we offer through NASEF also. So it's completely free to join. We're at nasef.org. There's a little join button up at the top, and it's very simple. Devin, anything you wanted to add about partnerships between high schools and colleges?
I mean, I think the best thing directors can do, and principals at high schools can do too, is just reach out to colleges that have programs and just, they're 100%. They will help you build your program. I promise you. It's a mutually beneficial, situation. Your kids come to college, they get to be a part of something that's amazing and exciting, and gives them, incentive to go, and, they get a good education and they get to be a part of a community that matters. And that's just, it feels like a win-win for me. So I just try to help everybody that I can when it comes to building their programs out.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. A lot of times when I talk to high school students about what they love about their esports club, it's that they found their people on campus, that they didn't necessarily have a group of people that they totally clicked with until there was an esports club there. And now they have their tribe. And I imagine that carries through to college as well, that you have kids that are, they're in the group with like-minded people. That makes your educational experience better, not just the extracurricular, but also it just makes the college experience better overall.
Yeah, for sure. Like my graduating class this last semester was the semester that those students were my freshmen the very first year the program started. So seeing them go has been bittersweet, but like seeing them be friends from day one to now is also like incredible. So you get to be a part of something really cool if you join.
Right. That's awesome. We had a question in the chat from Gerald. He is the executive director of NASEF, and he said, we've heard that some esports schools have rules that limit interaction with high schools. Can you elaborate? Anyone know what he's talking about?
I wonder if that's on the high school side, because for us personally, we don't have any rules or regulations, but I know that it's really important to keep the student information private. And so I wonder if that's maybe not sharing their personal data and working with the counselors first and then working with the students themselves.
That could be. Go ahead, Devin.
Yeah, on my end, like I don't really think there's anything that I'm not supposed to do. Like we've had, entire esports teams from high schools come and visit our facility and come career battle our Smash kids, or we're hosting the Valorant finals for the Pennsylvania Interscholastic Esports League, which is sweet. But outside of that, like I think like from what what Jackie said, I think it's just like on the information guidelines. I think we just have to be very careful with what we give out or what we make public.
Right. And we're all very careful with that already.
Yeah, 100%. And I just reiterating, there's really no restrictions that I have as a school or institution, but I think exactly right is finding the appropriate channels to contact high school students, what that information is, keeping it private. It can be tricky at times to navigate those waters, and things are, like I said before, constantly evolving. But yeah, it really comes from more the high school side, and it's more of an ethical side in a lot of cases. So just being careful, being aware of what's going on and how you're talking, interacting with students. But yeah, I don't currently have any restrictions. Maybe something comes down the road at some point, especially for like recruiting. We see that in NCAA and the way recruiting is done. So I don't know if that's going to be something that's on the docket at some point, but right now it's kind of more wide open than, restrictive.
Right. Yeah. That's what I was thinking, is I know there are some restrictions within NCAA about when you can talk to students about your college specifically, but I think we're not quite that structured in esports at this point anyway. Maybe we'll get there in the future. So we've talked a lot about all the career opportunities that exist in esports, and Fiona had asked in the chat about graduation rates and job placement rates for your colleges. Does one of you want to tackle that?
Joe, you can go. All right. So
go ahead, Devin. Yeah, you.
So like I said, we've only had one graduating class so far. We just hired one of our students to be our Valorant coach because it's one of the games I don't play, so I can't do it. But which is also great because I shouldn't. But yeah, we try to hire out of our graduating class as much as we can. I think they've already been a part of the program and they know how things work. They know how, more importantly, they know how I work because I run the thing. So it's great. And usually, things just work out super well. So we're trying to get people to pipeline into esports. I try to give them as much contact as possible when it comes to people I know within the industry, just so that way they can get placed somewhere where I know that they'll fit well. And I know their skill set because I've worked with them for the last 4 years.
Yeah. For us with the academic side, we haven't had a cohort come through yet for the academic side. We just finished year 3, but we have had some students that have graduated that added it that were already at SU. A lot of those students have gone on to work either in collegiate esports or for esports organizations that work actually with some high school students. Companies like Stay Plugged In, they've worked there. They worked at Checkpoint XP before on the media side of things. So we've had a couple of people. Game Gym is another local esports organization in this area in the Mid-Atlantic. They've worked for as tournament organizers. But we've also had a lot of students that actually work outside of esports that have come through the major, because that's the whole point of the degree, is not just to work in esports, but to get those transferable skills that would go to other areas. And so a lot of those students one of them works like a chemical engineering company, and he got a massive promotion 2 steps up from where he was, to manage a $50 million budget, because he ran a Call of Duty tournament and could talk about the people management and time management and structure and organization and adaptability. And so you never know, because you get these skills by working in esports, but it's not just to get people to work in the esports industry, it's to also work outside of it. Similar to Devin, we did just hire from within as well. We just hired a full-time esports broadcast production person so that we can really up that side of our program, because I don't have that skill set. I'm sport management. I am not broadcast production. Our students learn that stuff. So we were able to hire somebody for that to teach our students about it and really up that side of things. So yeah, we hire some within, but our students are getting jobs certainly outside. No international jobs yet. Still waiting for our first student to get an international job. I'll be excited about that one so that I can go visit them and have an excuse to travel. But yeah, we're getting students that are working in esports, in collegiate esports in particular, but also a couple working outside of it through that degree program. And I think a lot of job opportunities are going to be in scholastic esports down the road, whether it's collegiate or K-12. I think that is an area where we need people that understand education, the educational system, as well as the esports system. Put those two things together, I think, is really important. So that's what we're working on, is trying to place more in those areas.
Right, for sure. I spoke one time with a CFO of a large organization, and he was talking about hiring kids who are in esports. And he said, one thing I love about a kid who's in esports, who has been like a team captain or a leader, is they learn how to motivate other people on their team, and they don't have an actual carrot for them. He said, if I'm your boss, you either have to do what I say or I have pay as an incentive for you. But when you're just on a team playing a game together, you develop a different set of motivational and leadership skills by bringing your teammates along. And he said, I look for that. And he said, I like the blend of someone in esports because they've got technical skills and they've got those leadership and management skills. I thought that was really interesting. Jackie, what do you have to add?
Well, I cheated because I didn't know this answer, so I went and looked up my school page specifically for our school.
Good job.
We have a 51% graduation rate, and a combined with other things, an 85% graduation rate. What's unique, we do have a learning community that we just started in the fall. So we have a group of students who live on the same floor or live in the dorms close together, that they take classes together, and then they have upper level varsity player that helps them throughout their whole semester, their freshman year. And so we're going to be able to track them from their freshman year to their graduation. So eventually I'll have those numbers and how far they make it. But we're just not quite there yet.
Yeah. And I would just give some advice for high schoolers. As you're thinking about college, there are counselors on college campuses, just like you have at your high school. If hopefully you have them. I know not all high schools have them, but that has been, I'll just say, for my kids, a fantastic resource. When you don't know exactly what classes to take or what you need for your major, or how do I balance these different things, they work in that environment of your specific school every day. And so they can help you with that insider information on, do I take, section 1 or section 3 of this? They can help you figure that out. So don't forget to look around and use the resources on campus, because you're putting a lot of time and effort into that college education. So, you want to do your absolute best to get all the way through. It really makes a big difference. So I wanted to go back. You mentioned something earlier, Jackie, about, I think, a partnership that you have with is it a professional esports organization in your area?
Yeah, we have Minnesota Rocker and Version 1. So there are pro teams. They're owned by, so Minnesota is Vikings. So they're owned by the family that actually owns that. So it's kind of nice to be able to say that we're partnered with them. They have Call of Duty, Valorant, and Rocket League. And they just started an academy team too. That's pretty cool.
That's cool. And so when you say you're partnered with them, how does that play out?
We have a non-monetary partnership with them. So they are able to help us with social media posts. If we have events coming up, they provide swag opportunities for us. They just
swag is big. You always want the swag.
It's so true. Everyone wants something. Their street team, they just started. And so we were able to funnel in specific students to get hired for that. So that was a really huge opportunity for them. And then basically any time that I have questions about, so I have a big event coming up in the fall. They're helping us plan that. And I'm able to go to a professional organization and be like, how do you do this? And they're able to help me.
That's great. Devin, Joey, either of you partner with any pro teams?
Yeah, we work with the Washington Justice, the Overwatch team in DC, and we've had a partnership for a few years. Like Jackie's, non-monetary, so there's no money exchange or anything of that nature. It's a true partnership where they do shout us out. We help them run when there were in-person events with their homestands before COVID hit. We had students go out to DC to run the homestands with them, which was really, really exciting, a lot of fun. But they also teach in our classes. One of the people that works there, Grant Paranjape, who's the VP of Esports Business there. He's also worked at Splice Gaming. He teaches a class for us every semester. They look at resumes, they do mock interviews, they look at cover letters as well to make sure students are putting things on their resume in a way that makes sense and can help them potentially get a job, again, whether it's esports or not. But yeah, they actually signed some swag, mentioned swag. They signed some jerseys we're giving away during this charity stream tonight and donated that for us so that we could raffle those off and give one to the top donation as well. So yeah, that swag is really important. We did a watch party here when they made the playoffs last year. We're in Hawaii. So we got like Hawaii themed blow up things around the arena and got a shout out from them. And so that was really cool. So anything we can do to interact with them and get students in front of the staff there is really important. So they actually understand what it's like to work in professional esports. It's not as glamorous as someone might think. It's actually work. It's a lot of work. It's long hours and it's tough. It's a grind. And so we want to make sure that their expectations are adequate for if they want to work in esports, what that's actually like, what is that environment's like. So yeah, great partnership. We get an intern with them every semester as well, so that's important too. So yeah, that professional partnership is really, really key, and we rely on them a lot for advice. How do we run an event? What is social media? What's a good social media campaign like that we can work on? So anything and everything, they're kind of our sounding board for a lot of stuff, and we've had a lot of great partnerships. That one's been our longest and one of our best ones because our students learn so much by that partnership.
Mm-hmm. I love that. I love the student insight into the long term there too. That's really valuable. And internships aren't something that we've discussed a whole lot today, but those are so important for someone as they're going out of college and into the real world. And I think, as we look at partnerships that are developed, partnerships that lead to internships are especially valuable, I would say. Devin, do you have any partnerships with pro teams?
We did work with Evil Geniuses. I believe it was last year. They had a recruiting event for League of Legends, and that was they had a bunch of speakers pop in, people who work professionally in esports, people who work for Evil Geniuses currently. So it was very cool to have them come out and speak, as well as see some prospects as well.
Right, that's great. Well, it sounds like there's probably some room for all of us, and I would add for the high school organizations as well. Those pro teams are looking to build their fan base too. They want the people in the local area to join and be interested and excited and cheer them on. And so I'm sure they'd be happy to connect with you on the high school level as well. And so that's one of the questions, just if somebody is trying to build out a community partnership. So I guess this could be either a college looking to build some partnerships in their area, or a high school looking to build a partnership with the college, or with a business in town, they want a little bit of money so they can get that swag. What advice do you have in building some partnerships within the community? First steps, maybe.
Wow. Start the conversation. I think it's building relationships, reaching out to people. I mean, I hate using the phrase cold call, but sometimes it starts with a cold call just to see what the interest level is, what the level of knowledge might be around what esports is, but more importantly, what it can be. You can't do that until you start the conversation. And I think for us in the positions that we are in here, working in colleges that are trying to build up and down, build those pipelines from high school, but also build up and find those partnerships in the community, whether it's a sponsorship or, the non-monetary sponsor or partnership. You don't do any of that until you start the conversation. So you got to reach out to people, see where you can get your foot in the door. And it's usually not a quick relationship. It's not transactional. It is a long-term relationship that you're building with people in the community, the high schools and the companies around here, to really make it an ecosystem, an esports ecosystem within your town or your area. And so, you got to tell them, you got to educate them a lot of times, have a pitch deck ready. what is esports? How do you spell esports even sometimes? But it's trying to tell people what are the benefits, where is this going, what does it look like in college, what does it look like at at the pro scene and for careers, and what are the skills people are getting, students are getting, because again, it's not just esports and gaming, it is so much more than that. It goes way beyond it. So just educating people, having the conversation, and seeing where things fit in. Bring them into your space. It's one thing to talk about it, it's another thing to show them what esports can be, and get students involved too. Empower students to let them have some conversations as well, because it means a lot coming from students, and see what that company's interest might be in things like scholarships or doing things for, that are easier for them to get involved in. So not giving you $20,000 to give as a prize pool maybe, but $500 for a scholarship to help support student learning. That's a really easy, palatable thing for a lot of companies to get involved with. So it's just about finding what that interest is, what makes sense, where you can both sides benefit each other. But it all starts with a conversation and start building that relationship.
Yeah, I love what you said, Joey, about having the students get involved with that. And I've heard several stories of actually school board presentations where, maybe the school board was like, I don't know if we want esports here, could be a bad thing. And then the students speak up with such passion and understanding of what their long-term future could be. And it just completely turns people around. And it's the same in partnerships. It's one thing if you're getting hit up by adults all day long to help support this program or that program, but then you have a student come along who's really passionate and really sees their own future here. And I think that's a ticket. And cold calling, something most people do not like to do, but it is definitely beneficial.
I think it's definitely beneficial to have that pitch deck and those deliverables ready, available to just be like, I've got this for you. Can you look it over, or send it to them ahead of time? Having a quick one-sheeter of what you can offer them for sponsorship packages. Not everything has to be monetary either. Value in kind is great. I could use definitely things that my students would like for the program. Paying for our jerseys, paying for some of the gear. It doesn't have to be money, but that's what that one sheeter is really great for, of what you can deliver for these partnerships. And I think that's really important too. I helped a student. He actually used our pitch deck and customize it for his own school. And that's how he started his own esports club this past year, and they have just taken off. It's been amazing to see just the growth of the whole thing throughout the entire year.
That's awesome. Devin, do you have anything to add as far as community partnerships and maybe how to get started establishing them?
I mean, if you stream your events, it's pretty easy to talk with a community member like locally and just be like, hey, we'll put your stuff on our stream and go from there. I mean, when it comes to deliverables and your pitch deck and things like that, like having your numbers in order is super, super important. That stuff will speak for you more than you can speak for yourself. I'm gonna be real. So having this stuff ready is just super integral. And then on the adverse, like when it comes to the being the community and reaching out to the colleges, just reach out, like call, send an email, like we will respond to you, I promise.
Right. That's great advice from everyone. So let's shift gears just a little bit, because NASEF, we do have you talking to lots of our high school students. So I'd just be interested in some advice you have for them as they're in high school, looking ahead to college. What kinds of things would you suggest that a high school student do to prepare for their college experience?
Do your homework. And that doesn't mean in the classroom. That doesn't mean like, yes, do that homework too. That's important. Don't get me wrong. But do some research, see what colleges are out there that offer the opportunities that you're looking for, and find the right fit for you, right? Not every student is going to thrive at a small private liberal arts school. Not every student is going to thrive at a large state institution that has 30 or 35,000 students, right? And so there are so many different opportunities out there for competing, for working, for studying, esports and related fields. And so students have to just kind of do their research to see what the opportunities are, whether it's playing, whether it's working, or just being in the environment. We have students come in here and they watch anime movies on the screen during finals week. They're doing that starting tomorrow, just for relaxing before finals start. So you got to find the environment that makes sense for you, but you can't do that until you start understanding what is out there. And don't be afraid to look outside what is within your state. Look at other states, see what they have to offer. Take that risk. But the biggest thing for me is I always tell students is do your research and start being involved. The biggest thing we look for students that come in here is commitment and involvement. We want students that are engaged, not just coming, practicing Valorant for a couple of hours, going back to their dorm and never showing up again. We want them running events, looking at the broadcast, and we want them involved in classes and engaged in classes, stepping up and coming up with their own ideas that they can do as part of our program and our student clubs. So it's be engaged, be involved, do your research, see what's out there, and see what makes the most sense for you. Because again, it's going to be different for every single student. Go visit colleges, go talk to directors and coaches, get to know them, to make sure that it's a place that you feel comfortable and it's a place that you can feel like you're going to be successful. But you don't know that until you know what's out there. So do your research.
All right. Great advice. Devin, what do you think?
I mean, I'm in the same boat. Go on to every college tour you can. Find a spot that you know that you can be for the next 4 years, because you're not going to be able to move. I just would try to find a community that makes you feel like you're at home. That's what we try to do here. I'm sure that's what Joey does at Shenandoah, and I'm sure Jackie does that there. I think it's something about providing like a space where there's like, you're leaving home, but you're not really leaving home, And I think, just getting to that point and finding that comfort when it comes to like your esports space or, your college is just integral. Even if you're not going to be in esports, I think like finding a community that you can go to at a college is super important.
Mm-hmm.
I want to add on to that. You're making your social media presence known and positive too. If you have a toxic or negative social media presence or streaming, gaming, we're not going to want to pick you up at all. Being able to provide those Twitch links if you don't stream, or YouTube, even just VODs of showing your gameplay and your communication is huge, because that's how we're going to be able to watch you. And then being able to see how you communicate on something like Twitter or on Instagram, to be able to watch you. And it is kind of like babysitting, but we want players who are going to be positive and going to have a good outlook. And tilting does happen. It happens every day, but being able to know how to move past that and to take breaks. And I think that's really important too.
That's awesome. And real quick, and Jackie, awesome. I'm glad you reminded me. For a lot of students in high school, start your own website. It's like a digital resume that you can build a portfolio, and it kind of keeps all the videos that you do, all the volunteer parts that you do. Because I've heard a lot of jobs are now not just asking for a resume, but if you have a link to a website you can send them that has all your information on there, and it has like the videos you've done or content you've created. That's really, really powerful. That you can send 4 years. I mean, high school students aren't thinking after college, what am I going to do for a career sometimes? They're just trying to get to college, right? Or just who am I going to the prom with? But if you can be forward thinking and start a website now, start your resume, start getting it organized and keep up with it, that kind of goes with that digital presence that Jackie's talking about, and make sure that you're doing things appropriate. You might think you delete a tweet, that still lives somewhere. It's not really gone, right? And so being very careful, very intentional with how you interact and engage on social media, and starting to build that digital presence with like a digital resume or portfolio or a website of your own, that is something that you can start now in high school to prepare yourself for when you graduate and move on. And you're going to have it built already. You don't have to do it all that last year when you're trying to grind and get everything in there at one time. You can start it now and be very intentional with it. So start early, makes it a lot easier on yourself.
Right. Yeah, that's great advice. We partner with an organization called Tallow, and it is a digital platform. It's free for kids to join, and they can do exactly that, build out a digital portfolio there, which they can then share with college recruiters. And, eventually as they're seeking jobs, we did a collegiate esports fair with Tallow actually earlier this year, NACE, NASEF, and it was held on Tallow. And we had 14,000 connections made between students and college esports programs. So I know that's definitely something we'll do again in the future. Esports is unique, and I think it's great that you have an opportunity when you're participating in it, that you have these living, breathing examples of the work you can do and the things that you do as a student or as an individual. Like you said, if you're streaming or if you're building out, web content or that kind of thing, that's a great way to get your name out there. But as you said, be aware that when you do those things, you are getting your name out there. So make sure you're doing it in a positive light for sure. All right. Well, I think I have reached the end of my questions. I so appreciate all of your joining us today. We have so many opportunities coming up for students. We're at the end, just about the end of this school year, but We know that we're going to have some more free tournaments in the fall, and we have all kinds of opportunities to bring esports into the schools, whether it's through the daytime, classroom environment and curriculum, or after school clubs and tournaments. So we're excited to move on and bring more kids in. I know that we're going to take a little break on these live streams over the summer. We've been holding one every month with NASEF and NACE, so we're going to take a little summer break, and we'll come back to these in the fall next year. So if you are not already, sign up for the NASEF newsletter, and then that way you'll get all the information on what's going on and where we'll be and that kind of thing. So again, thank you so much, Jackie, Joey, and Devin. I appreciate your time today, and good luck. Have fun. Actually, before we sign off, Joey, flip around and look there. What's your new total? Are you still right around 2,000?
We are just over $2,200 now. So we had another $150, and
Awesome.
I'm going to get on the sticks here in a little bit. I got beaten Overwatch 2 pretty badly, but I'm going to hop in there again, and maybe I'll incentivize some students. They beat me for every game they beat me. I'll donate an extra $20 or $50 or something. So we'll make it fun here. But yeah, get on there, check it out. It's a lot of fun. And Claire, thank you for having us. Really appreciate everything that NASEF is doing to empower and engage high school students. And I think the key phrase you said it is opportunity. Let's find these opportunities for all students at the high school and collegiate level, because esports absolutely provides that in a way that we haven't seen before, and empowers students that haven't had that chance to be involved in the things that we've seen before. So Claire, thank you for all you're doing and Gerald is doing at NASEF. Really appreciate it, and really appreciate being on here.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you all so much. Good luck and have fun.